The sky here is deeper than blue. It is a living veil of shadow and sun, stretched wide over ancient soil. The air hums with something older than language, a hush between mountains and ocean, between predator and prayer, between dawn and the drums of memory. There are places in the world where the land seems to remember, where wind sings through the stones and names are forgotten, where you do not just arrive, you awaken. You smell salt on the breeze and smoke from firewood. You hear laughter and loss woven into street songs. You feel the gravity of stories buried in earth, waiting, still breathing. You are the traveler now, and South Africa is not simply a destination. It is a reckoning with wonder. Welcome to South Africa, a country where contrast is the canvas, where lions roam beneath the same stars that shine over jazz cafes in Johannesburg, where vineyard hills cradle tales of exile and resilience, where oceans collide in windswept ballet, one warm, one cold, off the rugged cliffs of the Cape. In the stillness of dawn, Table Mountain floats above the city like a stone god. In the depths of Kruger's wilderness, a leopard disappears into tall grass, silent as thought. And in the townships, colors shout from every wall, bold as hope. This is a place of great tensions and greater beauty, of pain not hidden but held, of joy not forced, but found in the very act of survival. To walk here is to walk through paradox, a land scarred and sacred, a people fractured, yet fiercely whole. You may hear 11 official languages spoken on a single street corner. You may taste Cape Malay spices, Kosa Umgasho, Afrikaans braised smoke on the wind. You may watch children dancing in dust, inventing joy from nothing but rhythm. But listen, truly listen, and you'll hear more than sound. You'll hear the ache of a history still healing. You'll hear the strength of those who refuse to be erased. For generations, South Africa has held its breath through struggle, against apartheid, against silence, against forgetting. But it has never stopped singing. Did you know that deep beneath the cradle of humankind lie the bones of the world's oldest ancestors? That human history itself may have first opened its eyes on the soil? A child's tooth, a femur, a tool carved from stone, all echoing across time to remind us that we all come from here. In a sense, we are all returning. And yet, even with such profound roots, the present speaks just as loudly. The streets of Soweto beat with innovation, poetry, protest. The vineyards of Stellenbosch pour futures from their casks. And the Bushveld blazes with life, untamed, uncolonized. For the gentle traveler, respect is the first passport. Learn a greeting in ISI Zulu or Afrikaans, and doors open with warm smiles. Understand that time here is often a rhythm, not a rule, and that humility will serve you better than any map. Avoid rushing. Avoid assuming. Come as a guest. Leave as a witness. In spring, jacaranda trees bloom in bursts of violet, carpeting the cities in soft purple hush. In summer, the Atlantic roars cold against the western shore, while the Indian Ocean warms the east. In every season, South Africa waits, not to be conquered, not to be captured, but to be felt. And when you finally sit still, beneath a sky wide enough to carry your whole story, let the land speak, because here nothing is silent, not the stones, not the sea, not even your own heart. Cape Town arrives not with thunder, but with stillness, a kind of suspended breath between ocean and sky. Between centuries of silence and the rhythm of today, the mountain watches everything. It rises not like a peak, but like a pause in time, holding the city in its vast, steady gaze. Beneath Table Mountain's stone canopy, life folds outward like sunlight. There are days when clouds spill over flat summit, rolling downward like a slow, ghostly waterfall. The locals call it the tablecloth, and it feels more like a blessing than weather. Walk down Long Street, and the world narrows into song. Buskers with chipped guitars, spice-slick air, the scent of rain on warm stone, and the overlapping dialect of a dozen lives all unfolding at once. The colors here are louder than speech. Painted doors, crumbling murals, and late afternoon light turning every corner into gold. But Cape Town does not hide its shadow. You may stand at the edge of the sea, where Robben Island floats like a memory too close to ignore. It was here that Nelson Mandela spent 18 years in a cell just 2 meters wide. No curtains, no comfort, just a window toward the mainland, where freedom was visible but unreachable. The ferry ride there is not a tourist joyride. It's a pilgrimage. When you walk through those gates, you carry not only your camera but a part of South Africa's silence, the silence of injustice, and the echo of footsteps that refuse to vanish. Yet Cape Town continues, not in defiance of its past, but in deep conversation with it. Markets bloom with life. The Victoria and Alfred waterfront hums with food stalls, live jazz, lovers drifting beneath string lights. The scent of grilled snook and sweet Coke sisters wraps around your senses like a grandmother's blanket. For the traveler, kindness is a form of currency here. Ask before taking a photo. Greet people with "How's it?" or "Malwini." And if you're invited to a braai, bring your laughter. It's more welcome than anything you could bring in your hands. There is no single Cape Town, only layers, folded in fog, pressed into pavement, rippling in the tide that kisses its shore. To see it clearly, you must look with more than your eyes. You must feel its pulse. You must linger. Bo-Kaap is not a place you find. It is a place that finds you. At the foot of Signal Hill, the streets begin to curve and color begins to rise. Houses stand shoulder to shoulder in brilliant pinks, sunlit yellows, and cooling aquas. No two are the same, and none try to be. These colors are more than paint. They are acts of resistance. Bo-Kaap, once called the Malay Quarter, was shaped by descendants of slaves brought from Indonesia, Malaysia, India. They were forbidden to speak their languages, forbidden to build their mosques, but not forbidden to remember. When apartheid tried to bleach the soul from this place, the people painted louder. Wander here slowly. Let your footsteps echo on cobblestone. Let the call to prayer rise like incense above the city. Here, you will find not just architecture, but ancestry, stories folded into door frames, recipes passed like treasure from hand to hand. Try a warm samosa or a sticky sweet koa sister. But know that to truly taste Bo-Kaap, you must sit at a family table. If you're lucky, you'll be invited. If you're wise, you'll come with open hands and quiet reverence. Ask about Tuan Guru, the scholar and prisoner who hand-wrote the Quran from memory during his exile on Robben Island. Ask about the Al Mosque, the oldest in South Africa, built in defiance and devotion. This neighborhood is more than history. It is living memory, a place that whispers, "We are still here." And if you listen closely as the sun slips behind Lion's Head, You'll hear the soul of Bo-Kaap, not in what is spoken, but in what endures. Kirstenbosch is not simply a garden. It is a sanctuary carved into the mountain's shoulder, where time slows and the earth begins to hum. From a first step past the gates, there is a hush, not silence exactly, but a symphony of subtle things. The rustle of fynbos, the whisper of wind moving through silver trees, the soft click of sunbirds in flight. Nestled at the foot of Table Mountain, Kirstenbosch is one of the world's great botanical wonders, but it is also a deep breath, a place where nature teaches without a single word. Paths meander like thought. Proteas bloom with the boldness of flame. Cycads stand like ancient guardians, older than memory, their spined leaves trembling in the golden light. Take the boomslang, a curved treetop walkway that snakes through the canopy. From up there, the garden opens like a secret, lush and layered, each leaf a quiet revelation. But Kirstenbosch carries history too. It was once wild, once neglected. It took the vision of botanist Harold Pearson and the labor of many hands to shape this place, not as conquest, but as conversation with the land. Come early, bring patience. Stay long enough to forget what time is. In summer, music drifts across the lawns. Sunset concerts where the sky turns soft with gratitude. But even in stillness, this garden sings. Not loudly, not quickly, but like all true beauty, with grace. In Kruger, the world returns to its original rhythm. Dawn rises not with alarm clocks, but with the low, distant rumble of elephants, and the first golden breath of sun over acacia silhouettes. Here, the earth is not still. It breathes. The road stretches like a ribbon of dust, curling between scrub and savanna, where shadows are always watching. And in that hush, the hush of not knowing what might emerge, the pulse quickens. You do not visit Kruger. You surrender to it. A lion may appear, sudden and slow, in the heat shimmer. A dazzle of zebras may cross your path like a living mural. And if you're quiet, truly quiet, you might glimpse a leopard melted into the branches of a marula tree, watching the world with ancient, patient eyes. Established in 1898, Kruger is more than a game reserve. It is a sanctuary the size of a small country, home to over 500 bird species, 147 mammals, and countless stories written in tracks along the riverbanks. But even this wilderness is not untouched. The land remembers the people displaced when it was made a park. The Maculite, the Tsonga, their villages swallowed by conservation, their histories often left untold. Now, some have returned, not to reclaim land, but to guide others through it, to share the wisdom that lives in thorn and soil. For travelers, respect is as essential as binoculars. Drive slowly. Stay in your vehicle. Never chase an animal for a better view. This is not your stage. It is their sanctuary. Speak softly. Let your awe be quiet. There is power in reverence. The dry season brings clarity. Animals gathering near water. The bush revealing its hidden heartbeat. The wet season brings chaos. Green surging from dust. Thunder breaking the silence. And new life in every direction. And always, always the horizon waits, wide and wordless. In Kruger, the wild does not perform for you. It allows you, briefly, to witness its truth, and that is more than enough. The Drakensberg does not rise. It unfurls. A cathedral of stone stretching across the eastern horizon, where clouds cling like offerings to jagged spires, and waterfalls descend in ribbons too delicate to name. In Zulu it's Ukalamba, barrier of spears. In Afrikaans, Drakensberg, Dragon Mountains. Both names are true. Both speak of power wrapped in beauty, and beauty wrapped in mystery. Mornings arrive slowly here. Mist clings to the valleys like memory. The air carries the scent of damp rock, wildflowers, and something ancient, something that hums just beneath the skin. This is not a landscape you look at. It is one you walk through, barely breathing. Baboons bark from distant cliffs. Antelope flick through grass like ghosts. And in the high caves, beneath overhangs blackened by time, the sand left their stories, thousands of years old. The rock art here tells of eland and trance, of hunters and healers, of a people whose rhythm once matched the beat of this land. They are not gone, not truly. Their spirits linger in ochre lines, in dusted footprints, in the wind that winds through stone corridors. Respect is the only entrance. Step lightly. Ask before photographing sacred spaces. Hike with a guide when the trails become unknowable, when the peaks begin to shift with cloud and shadow. In winter, snow dusts the summits like whispered blessings. In summer, lightning sketches the sky, and the valleys bloom in bursts of green and gold. For the traveler, there is no itinerary here, only direction. East, upward, inward. There are places where the mountain seems to watch you, not with menace, but with memory. And you understand without knowing why. That silence can be sacred, too. When you stand at the edge of the amphitheater, heart stilled by the sheer weight of it all, you will not need words. The Drakensberg will speak for itself. The garden route is not a path. It is a passage, a ribbon of road that curls along South Africa's southern coast, where mountains meet forest, and forest opens the sea. Here, the journey is a destination. Each bend reveals another marvel, a lagoon shimmering like glass, a cliffside road veiled in mist, a beach where the tide whispers secrets. No map can ever capture. This coast is alive with movement. Knysna's waters rise and fall through the heads like breath. Tsitsikamma's forests murmur with the rustle of ancient canopies. Even the silence feels full. There's magic in the details. A kingfisher flashing blue above a reed bed. A dassy sunning itself on a warm rock. A roadside stand offering hand-pressed juice. And stories if you linger long enough. But the garden route is not just nature's showcase. It is a path through history. The Khoisan once walked this land, their footsteps echoing in cave walls and riverbeds. In colonial times, the forests were stripped, the elephants hunted, the voices quieted. Yet still, the forest grows, and some elephants remain, elusive, almost mythical. It is said you rarely see them, but sometimes if you stand very still, you can feel them watching. Travel slowly. Let the road decide. Stop in wilderness, where time softens and birdsong is the only clock. Watch the waves at Victoria Bay, where surfers carve grace into water. And if you hike the storm's river mouth, cross the suspension bridge gently, as if walking between worlds. The weather can shift without warning, sun to storm, calm to wind, but that is part of the rhythm here. Unpredictable, unfolding. At night, the stars stretch across the sky, like threads pulled taut by the tide. And you, traveler, are simply passing through, not to leave a mark, but to be marked. The Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park stretches beyond borders. A vast expanse of red dunes, endless sky, and silence so complete it hums. This is where the earth feels ancient, where time is measured not in minutes, but in the slow sweep of shadow and light. The word Kgalagadi means place of thirst, a harsh name for a place that demands respect. Yet in this desert, life survives with stubborn grace. The black-maned lions here are kings not of abundance, but of endurance. They hunt beneath stars sharper than knives, their roars folding into the night, like warnings and lullabies all at once. In these dunes, the sand people once moved like ghosts, tracking water and game, reading the language of the land and the stars. Their rock paintings still whisper stories of animals, spirits, and survival etched in ochre and shadow. Visitors enter quietly. There are no fences, no walls, just a promise to tread softly. Camping here is to sleep beneath an endless dome of stars, to wake with the horizon blazing gold. During the day, the heat presses down and the world seems to hold its breath. Yet life thrives. The meerkat dances across the sand. The springbok leaps with effortless grace, and the ancient camel thorn trees spread their twisted arms. Travel here demands preparation and patience. Water is precious, and the sun unforgiving. Respect local guides, who carry knowledge older than maps. The silence teaches you something profound, to listen, and in that listening, you become part of a story far greater than your own. As night falls, the Milky Way stretches its glowing river overhead, and you remember why you came, not to conquer the wild, but to be humbled by it. Durban is a city shaped by the sea, where the Indian Ocean's warm breath mingles with the spice-scented air. Palm trees sway along Golden Mile, their shadows stretching long across beaches, alive with children's laughter and the rhythm of waves. Here, cultures blend like colors in a woven tapestry. Zulu, Indian, Afrikaans, English, each voice adding a note to Durban's vibrant song. The city's heart beats in its markets, where the scent of freshly ground masala dances through the air, and the streets pulse with the energy of hawkers and storytellers. But Durban's beauty is more than skin deep. During apartheid, the city was a battleground of spirit and resilience. Communities stood firm, turning hardship into hope. You may wander through the Durban Botanic Gardens, where ancient trees whisper secrets of the past, or lose yourself in the colorful chaos of Victoria's street market, where every spice, fabric, and smile tells a story. For travelers, respect means embracing this diversity with open eyes and a patient heart. Learn a few words in Zulu. A simple sabo bona opens doors. Try a bunny chow, the city's beloved street food. A hollowed loaf filled with fragrant curry, perfect for sharing. Stay hydrated. Durban's subtropical sun can surprise you. And remember, the ocean here is beautiful, but can be wild. Swim safely and watch for rip currents. Durban is a city of warmth, not just in weather, but in welcome. Hermanus is a quiet whisper by the sea, a place where the coastline curves like a soft sigh, and the ocean carries stories in its tides. From June to December, the bay becomes a stage for giants, southern right whales, breaching and spouting close enough to feel like old friends. Walk the cliff paths slowly, breathe the salt air, and watch the dance of fins and flukes beneath the surface. This town holds more than whales. It carries a gentle rhythm, of markets spilling with fresh catch, of vineyards ripening under golden sun, of sunsets that bleed pink and lavender across the sky. For travelers, respect means quiet observation. Keep distance from the whales. Let the sea speak in its own time. And when the sun slips below the horizon, Hermanus hummed softly, a lullaby for those who listen. Addo is a sanctuary whispered into existence, a place where elephants wander freely, their slow footsteps weaving ancient stories into red earth. This park, born from a small herd of just 11 elephants in 1931, has blossomed into a refuge for over 600 majestic giants. They move with quiet dignity, their ears like sails catching the breeze, their trunks tracing the air as if remembering a forgotten song. But Addo is more than elephants. It is a sanctuary for predators, antelope, and birds, for life that thrives in the thorny bush and sunlit plains. The landscape is a mosaic of contrasts, arid to lush, flat to rolling hills, where hidden waterholes shimmer like secrets. Here, the air smells of sun-baked leaves and wild sage. The silence is punctuated by the soft rumble of elephant herds, the chatter of birds, and the distant call of jackals at dusk. The park story is also one of resilience. It survived war, drought, and human neglect, a reminder that care can restore even the most fragile balance. For travelers, patience is key. Slow your pace. Listen for movement in the grass. Respect the boundaries. The animals are not on display. They are living their lives. Sunsets here paint the sky in fierce oranges and purples, and the earth seems to hold its breath in reverence. In Addo, the weight of giants rests lightly on your soul. The Blyde River Canyon is a story carved in stone, a vast green heart beating deep within South Africa's rugged spine. The walls rise high, cliffs cloaked in mist, where ferns cling to crevices and waterfalls sing ancient lullabies. The river snakes below, a silver thread winding through forest and rock. This canyon is one of the largest on Earth, and yet it feels intimate, a secret whispered between mountains. Legends live here, woven into the landscape. The 3 rondavells, 3 round grass-thatched peaks, stand like ancestral guardians watching over the valley. Their shapes remind locals of traditional huts, and the stories they hold speak of love, loss, and endurance. In the 1800s, the canyon was nearly named the Phantom's Pass, after explorers who found themselves lost in its labyrinthine trails. Yet, it remains a place of discovery, where every turn reveals a new glimpse of wild beauty. Birds of prey circle overhead, their cries echoing off the cliffs. Fish eagles call from hidden nests, and the scent of earth and water fills the air. For travelers, patience and respect are the true guides. Walk softly on trails lined with fynbos and protea. Wear sturdy shoes and carry water. The weather can shift suddenly, turning sun to storm. Pause often to drink in the silence. The canyon invites you not just to see, but to listen to the pulse of the earth, to the stories etched in rock and river. In Blyde River Canyon, the land speaks gently, and those who listen learn to hear with their hearts. Knysna is a quiet breath between forest and sea, a place where ancient trees lean toward the lagoon, and the mist curls like memory through the air. The town hums softly. Fishermen mend nets by the water's edge. Oysters glisten in the dawn light, and the scent of pine mingles with salt and smoke. Knysna's famous heads, 2 towering cliffs guarding the lagoon's entrance, stand like silent sentinels, watching over boats that slip in and out with the tides. This is a place shaped by water and wood, where stories drift like driftwood on the shore. Long ago, the Khoisan peoples lived here, their footprints hidden beneath moss and leaf. They call the lagoon Knysna, meaning ferns growing on the steep river banks. The forest still breathes with their presence. Knysna's Oyster Festival, born from humble beginnings, is now a celebration of the sea's generosity, a reminder that nature and community are woven tightly here. For travelers, kindness is the key. Support local artisans. Respect fishing traditions. Listen to the quiet rhythms of life unfolding slowly. Come in autumn, when the leaves burn gold and red, and the air tastes of wood smoke and ocean salt. Knysna invites you not to rush, but to linger, to find beauty in small moments, and peace in the pause between waves. Mossel Bay is where the ocean meets history, a place of first encounters and unfolding horizons. Here, Vasco da Gama's arrival in 1497 marked a new chapter, the beginning of stories that would ripple through centuries. The town feels like a quiet harbor, where fishing boats bob gently on turquoise waves. and seagulls will overhead like wandering spirits. Walk the beaches and you'll find ancient shells, remnants of a time long before maps and borders. The cliffs hold fossils older than human memory, telling tales of creatures that once roamed this land. Beneath skies both stranger and familiar, Mossel Bay is a crossroads between past and present, between ocean and desert, between calm and storm. The Dias Museum complex stands as a quiet guardian, preserving the spirit of exploration and the complex histories intertwined here. For travelers, slow down. Respect the sea's moods. It can be generous or fierce. Speak softly near nesting birds. Try the local seafood. Fresh hake, grilled with simple herbs, or snook smoked over fynbos flames. In winter, the bay shimmers under low light, while in summer, the heat wraps around you like a gentle blanket. This place is both refuge and revelation, a reminder that every shore is a doorway to deeper stories. And if you listen, the sea will tell you secrets, not with words, but with the timeless language of waves. Plettenberg Bay is a place where the earth sighs with relief, a stretch of coastline where forests reach for the sea, and the waves fall like gentle promises onto sandy shores. Here, the air is thick with the scent of wild herbs and salt. The sound of crashing surf mingles with the rustle of ancient trees, and sunlight filters through leaves like shards of gold. The bay has long been a sanctuary. The Khoisan once called these lands home, their stories etched in rock art hidden beneath the canopy. Later, explorers and settlers arrived, bringing new languages, new rhythms, new tensions. Yet, the land holds memory, and it remembers all. Plettenberg Bay is a place of balance, between wilderness and warmth, between history and hope. The Rawberg Nature Reserve guards this balance fiercely. Hiking its trails reveals panoramic views where ocean meets cliff, and seals bask lazily on rocky outcrops. Watch for dolphins dancing just beyond the surf, or whales migrating along the coast in their ancient pilgrimage. For travelers, patience is a quiet virtue here. Respect the natural rhythms. Leave no trace but footprints. Support local conservation efforts. And listen, truly listen, to the stories the wind carries. In the evenings, the sky blooms with stars, and the ocean's lullaby pulls you toward stillness. Plettenberg Bay is not just a destination. It is a place to find yourself, softly, gently, in the arms of the wild. Johannesburg pulses with energy, a city built from gold and grit, where history and hope clash and weave through every street. The sun rises over a skyline stitched together with cranes and cranes, reminding you that this is a place always becoming, never quite finished. In Mapungubwe, the city hums with art and invention. Walls burst with murals telling stories of struggle and triumph, and jazz spills from open windows like a secret gift. But Johannesburg carries weight. It is the heart of apartheid's scars, and the birthplace of resistance. In the vibrant neighborhood of Soweto, you can walk through history. Vilakazi Street, the only street in the world that once housed two Nobel laureates, Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu, stands as a quiet testament to courage and change. The Apartheid Museum holds stories too heavy for words, yet invites you to listen, to remember, to feel, to understand. For the traveler, Johannesburg demands openness and care. Ask before photographing. Engage with respect. And know that beneath its restless surface lies a city of deep kindness. Night brings a different rhythm. Clubs pulse with Afrobeat and house music. The scent of braised smoke drifts through alleyways, and laughter is louder than fear. Here, the future is being written every day, in the voices of young poets, artists, and dreamers. Johannesburg is not just a city. It is a story, rough-edged, real, and relentlessly alive. Table Mountain stands like a sentinel, its flat summit stretching wide against the sky, watching over Cape Town with ancient patience. Its cliffs are carved by wind and rain, each fissure a line in a story written by time. When clouds spill over the mountain's edge, the tablecloth unfurls, a misty veil that softens the world below, turning stone to shadow and light to dream. Hiking here is a journey through layers, fynbos carping the ground like a wild, fragrant quilt, rocky outcrops that invite quiet reflection, and birdsong that threads through the air like a secret melody. The mountain is home to rare and ancient plants, many found nowhere else on earth, each leaf a testament to resilience. Legends speak of spirits who dwell here, guardians of a land who watch silently, protecting the balance between human and wild. For the traveler, patience and respect are key. Take your time on the trails. Leave no trace. And when the summit greets you, sit quietly and let the vastness settle into your soul. As the sun dips low, the city lights flicker like distant stars, and Table Mountain keeps its timeless vigil. Boulders Beach is a quiet miracle, where nature's whimsy meets the ocean's calm embrace. Hidden among giant granite boulders, a colony of African penguins waddles and swims, their tuxedoed forms charming visitors with unhurried grace. These small birds carry stories of survival, once threatened, now protected. Their black and white dance a testament to resilience. The air is salty and fresh, filled with the gentle sound of waves lapping the shore. Walk the boardwalks with soft steps, giving space to the penguins as they go about their day, nesting, preening, and watching the sea. Here, time seems to slow. The world's rush fades away, leaving only the simple joy of presence. For travelers, respect is essential. Keep your distance. Do not feed or disturb, and let the penguins remind you that even the smallest creatures hold vast stories. Mapungubwe is a place of silence and gold, where baobabs stand like watchful giants, and the Limpopo River flows with secrets older than empires. This land once held a kingdom, a forgotten capital, high on a sandstone hill, where traders dealt in ivory, glass, and gold, long before Europe knew this name. Mapungubwe was thriving. The ruins remain, stone walls weathered by time, burial mounds that whisper kings laid to rest beneath the African sun. The golden rhino, found here in 1933, shocked the world, a symbol of craftsmanship, of power, of a story deliberately left out of textbooks. In this park, the wild and the ancient coexist. Elephants roam where royalty once walked. The cries of fish eagles echo across the baobab-studded horizon. Travel here is sacred. You're not just visiting a national park. You're walking into history's long shadow. Walk slowly. Honor the stillness. Let the land speak. Mapungubwe doesn't shout. It remembers and invites you gently to remember too. The Knysna Heads rise like ancient sentinels, two colossal cliffs guarding the narrow mouth, where lagoon meets sea. This is a place of thresholds, between calm waters and crashing waves, between shelter and surrender. Stand atop the eastern head, and watch the turquoise tide rush through the gap below. To the west, forested slopes drop steeply to stone and spray, where mist clings to rock like memory. The currents here are fierce and unpredictable. Many ships have tried and failed to cross safely through the heads. Some say their ghosts still linger beneath the foam, but above the light is soft. The air smells of salt and wild fynbos. Cormorants glide low across the surface, and the wind carries whispers from the sea. Long before sailors came, the Khoisan stood here, reading the tides, listening to the deep rhythm of water and wind. For the traveler, this is not a place to conquer, but to contemplate. Walk the trails with care. Let your gaze follow the horizon and feel the pull of the unknown. The Knysna Heads do not offer answers, only perspective, and a quiet invitation to witness the meeting place between Earth's longing and the sea's reply. Pretoria blooms in purple. Each October, jacaranda trees ignite the streets, petals falling like confetti on stone and story. This is a city of government and gardens, where grand avenues meet quiet corners. and history lingers in sunlight and shadow. Once the capital of apartheid's architecture, Pretoria is now a place of slow change. Its past still heavy, its future still forming. Stroll through the city with humility. Notice the statues that rise and the ones that no longer do. Visit Church Square. Feel the weight and the wind. Pretoria is not loud, but in its silence, there is growth. In the jacaranda rain, you may find beauty blooming in places where pain once stood. The Union buildings rest like a crown upon Pretoria's brow, a sweep of sandstone and symmetry above the jacaranda bloom. This is where power once stood untouched. Grand, distant, untouchable. But history changed here. In 1994, Nelson Mandela stood on these steps, sunlight on his shoulders, and spoke South Africa into a new season. The air still holds that moment, hope stitched into stone. The terrace gardens below bloom in quiet reverence. Visitors pause near his statue, arms outstretched as if embracing all that was and all that might be. For travelers, walk slowly here. Feel the echo underfoot. Let the stillness remind you this place, once unyielding, now invites reflection. The Union buildings speak not with might, but with memory. The Cape Peninsula stretches like a question mark into the sea, wild, windswept, and impossibly beautiful. Mountains rise in jagged procession, cloaked in clouds or drenched in golden light. Roads cling to cliff sides like whispers, offering glimpses of turquoise bays and kelp forests swaying just below the surface. This land feels untamed, where baboons cross your path with slow defiance, and dassies warm themselves on sun-baked stone. Chapman's Peak Drive curves like a ribbon carved from rock, each bend revealing another breathless view, another pause in time. But the peninsula holds stories too. Shipwrecks lie scattered beneath its waves, their bones buried in sand. At Kameji, the Slankop Lighthouse still stands, a quiet guardian against the sea's fury. The fynbos here is fierce and delicate, a floral kingdom found nowhere else on earth. It blooms despite the wind, despite the salt, despite everything. For travelers, this land asks for stillness. Watch the waves from a cliffside bench. Taste the wind. Let your silence be part of the scenery. Come in spring, when the wildflowers ignite the hills. Come in winter, when the skies brood and whales breach offshore. Here, the elements shape everything. Wind, stone, water, time. And in their shaping, they leave behind something sacred. The Cape Peninsula is not a destination. It is an edge and a beginning. The Cape of Good Hope is where continents exhale, where land runs out, and the sea takes over. Wild, roaring, unafraid. The cliffs here stand stubborn against the Atlantic, their edges worn smooth by centuries of wind and salt. Waves crash below in rhythms older than history, each one rewriting the line between presence and disappearance. Early sailors called this the Cape of Storms, and it was... Many never made it past the violence of these waters, but to those who did, it became a symbol of hope, a promise that beyond the fury, something waited. Today, ostriches roam the rocky paths, and bonneback graze quietly where ships once faltered. Crows will above the cape, their shadows dancing on sun-bleached stone. There is a silence here, though the wind never stops. A silence that speaks of thresholds, of things ending and beginning. For travelers, where layers, the wind is sharp even when the sun shines. Stay on the trails. Let the cliffs be cliffs. Let the sea keep her secrets. Stand at the edge and look south. You'll feel it, the weight of distance, the pull of elsewhere, the hush that comes from standing at the very bottom of something vast. The Cape of Good Hope is not a crossing. It is a surrender. Hout Bay is a harbor cradled in a bowl of mountains, where the sea slips in quietly at dawn, and the fishing boats return with salt on their skin. The water here glows deep green, fringed by docks, markets, and memories. Seagulls will overhead, calling like old souls who've seen it all before. Once, this bay held forests. Hout, meaning wood, its trees fell to build ships' towns in time itself. Now, the forest has retreated, but the echoes remain in the name. In the harbor, fishermen mend their nets with practiced hands. Children laugh between market stalls, and the scent of freshly fried snook floats through the morning air. Take a boat to Seal Island, where thousands of Cape Fur seals lounge on the rocks, barking into the wind, watching you with glassy, curious eyes. The bay is surrounded by stories of resilience, of labor, of quiet beauty that endures beneath change. Visit the Bay Harbor Market on a weekend, where music dances through smoke and spices, and local artisans offer what they've shaped with care. For travelers, this place offers rest, not just of body, but of spirit. Let the rhythm of the waves remind you that not all movement must be forward. Sometimes it is enough just to float. Stellenbosch lies in a valley brushed with vines, where time feels slower, and the light falls like honey across the land. The town wears its history gently. Oak-lined streets, whitewashed Cape Dutch facades, and university courtyards filled with soft laughter and slow conversations. But it is the vineyards that draw you in. They stretch across rolling hills like poems in green, each row holding the memory of sun and soil, each grape a quiet note in a deeper song. Winemaking here is both craft and heritage, passed down in whispers, tended by hands that know the land's rhythm. Taste the wine slowly. Swirl the deep reds, the crisp whites. Let them tell you of summers past, of storms weathered, of patience. Yet Stellenbosch is not only sweetness. Its beauty rests atop a layered past, of land taken, labor unpaid, voices silenced. Today, there are new voices rising. Black winemakers, young innovators, artists who use their craft to unearth deeper truths. Visit with openness. Support family-run farms. Listen to the stories poured with the wine. Walk through the gardens at dusk, when the mountains blush with evening, and the scent of jasmine lingers in the air. Stellenbosch invites you to linger, to taste deeply, and to remember, even beauty can grow from complexity. The journey ends where all true journeys begin, within, from the vast hush of Kruger's golden plains to the wind-lashed cliffs of the Cape. South Africa unfolds not just across landscapes, but across the soul. You have stood where kingdoms once rose, where ancestors whispered in ochre on cave walls, where elephants tread lightly and penguins waddle without fear. You have tasted the spice of Durban's kitchens, felt the sting of wind on Table Mountain's crown, and heard the echoes of laughter, struggle, and hope in Soweto streets. This is a land of contradiction and grace, where beauty is never simple, and stories run deeper than rivers. It is not meant to be seen in a glance, or captured in a single photograph. It must be listened to, felt, remembered. Travel has brought you far, but reflection takes you further. So pause here, at the end of the road. Let the voices linger. Let the wild light settle in your bones. And as the sun drops behind the Drakensberg, casting long shadows on the day's final page, remember this. You are not just a visitor to the world. You are part of it, and it, in turn, now lives in you. You are the traveler now,